Welcome. If you're here, it's because something inside you refuses to quit. No matter how heavy the weight, how loud the storm, or how far the finish line looks. Here we speak to that part of you. The part that knows growth lives in discomfort, that understands rest isn't weakness, that trusts delay is not denial, and that believes you might be just one step away from your breakthrough. This channel is not for the faint of heart. It's for those who are willing to fight, to rise, and to push forward when everything says stop. You'll find truth here, you'll find challenge here, but most importantly, you'll find fuel here. Let's go to work. When life starts pressing down on you, when the weight on your shoulders feels like it's too much to carry, I want you to take a breath and remember why you started in the first place. Because here's the truth. Pressure doesn't show up for people who aren't doing anything. Pressure is a sign. It's proof that you're carrying something valuable, something worth the fight. Nobody puts a target on an empty field. The challenges, the setbacks, the moments where you feel like you can't take another step, they only come because you're in the game and you're chasing something that matters. Think back to the very first spark that set you on this path. The vision you saw in your mind, the fire that made you take the first step even when you didn't have all the answers. That wasn't just a random thought, that was purpose. And purpose has a way of calling you out of comfort. Purpose doesn't care about how convenient your life is. It cares about who you're becoming in the process. But here's the thing about purpose. It's heavy. It comes with responsibility, sacrifice, and moments where you will question yourself. And that's where most people make a mistake. They confuse pressure with proof that they're failing. No. Pressure is proof that you're in the middle of the fight. Proof that the weight you're carrying has value. Diamonds don't form without pressure, and neither will you. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. In fact, I'm telling you right now, it's not. There will be mornings you don't want to get out of bed. Nights you lie awake wondering if it's all worth it. You'll see other people moving faster, winning quicker, getting praise you think you deserve, and you'll feel that knot in your chest that whispers, maybe this isn't for me. That's the moment I need you to lean in, not back. Because when you remember why you started, you tap into a different kind of strength. Not the kind that comes from hype or motivation, but the kind that comes from a deep, unshakable belief that this is your lane, your calling, your fight. That even if it takes longer than you thought, even if it costs more than you expected, it's still worth every ounce of energy you've got left. Pressure will try to make you forget your why. It will distract you with temporary pain so you lose sight of permanent purpose. But here's a little secret. The very thing that's making you want to quit is often the same thing that's preparing you for what you've been asking for. See, everybody prays for the blessing, but not everybody's ready for the weight that blessing comes with. Pressure is training. It's conditioning you to handle the success you've been dreaming about. I've seen people quit right before their breakthrough. They let the pressure convince them they weren't built for this. But if they had just held on, pushed through one more challenge, they would have realized they were standing closer to their goal than they thought. That's why you have to be careful about the voice you listen to when you're tired. Because pressure speaks loud and it will tell you lies. It will tell you you're not enough, you're too late, you've wasted your time. But the truth is, pressure only comes because you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And let me be clear, this isn't about ignoring your exhaustion or pretending you're not struggling. It's about making a decision. Are you going to let the weight crush you, or are you going to let it make you stronger? You can rest, you can slow down, but don't you dare put that dream in the ground just because it got hard. Hard is part of the process. Hard means you're growing. Hard means you're building something real. So the next time you feel that pressure, instead of asking, why is this happening to me, start asking, what is this preparing me for? Because there's always a reason, always. And when you understand that reason, when you reconnect with why you started, you'll find that the strength to keep going was inside you the whole time. Hold on to your purpose tighter than you hold on to your fear. Pressure isn't here to break you. It's here to prove you were built to carry something worth fighting for. There's something you need to understand about the season you're in right now. It's not forever. I know it feels heavy. I know it feels endless. You wake up and it's still there. You go to bed and it follows you into your sleep. It's like this cloud that refuses to move, like the sun forgot your address. But no matter how dark it gets, no matter how loud the wind howls or how hard the rain falls, storms do not last forever. Every storm runs out of rain. When you're in the middle of it, it's easy to forget that. You start to believe this is your new normal, that life will always feel like this, but storms are movers. They come in, they shake things up, and then they move on. The trouble is, when you can't see the end yet, you start to lose hope. And when hope starts slipping away, quitting starts sounding like relief. That's when you have to remind yourself, this is temporary, this is not your forever. I've seen people mistake a storm for a life sentence. They let the weight of the moment convince them the sun's never coming back. But think about every tough season you've ever been through in your life. At the time, it felt endless, didn't it? Yet here you are. You made it through. It may have changed you, but it didn't destroy you. The storm passed, and this one will too. The thing about storms is, they reveal things you didn't know were inside you, strength you didn't know you had, resilience you didn't think you could build. You don't find those things in the sunshine. You find them when the wind is against you, when the rain is stinging your face, when your legs are heavy, but you keep moving anyway. Storms strip away the unnecessary and leave you standing in the raw truth of who you are. And that's when you discover, maybe I'm stronger than I thought. You see, storms don't just pass by accident. They pass because you keep going. You keep taking steps, even small ones. You hold on when everything in you says to let go. The rain doesn't stop to make it easier for you. You become stronger while it's still falling. And one day, you'll look up and realize the clouds have broken, and the light you thought you lost was just waiting for the right moment to shine again. I'm not telling you this to make light of your pain. I know some storms last longer than others. Some will take your breath away. Some will leave you on your knees. Some will make you question everything you believe. But even those storms, especially those storms, will not last forever. They will pass, and when they do, you'll carry something with you no one can ever take away, the proof that you survived. There's a kind of power that comes from outlasting what was meant to break you. It changes how you walk. It changes how you see the next challenge. When you've been through hell and made it out the other side, you stop fearing the rain. You stop running from the wind. You start realizing, I've been here before and I made it. I can do it again. And maybe that's the real gift of the storm. It doesn't just end, it transforms you. It takes the fragile parts of you and hardens them into steel. It teaches you patience, endurance, and faith in a way comfort never could. Because it's easy to believe when the skies are clear. It's harder to believe when the sky is falling. But if you can hold on in the storm, if you can keep believing when there's no reason to, that's when you become unstoppable. So I don't want you to focus on how hard the rain is falling right now. I don't want you to obsess over how loud the thunder is or how long it's been since you saw the sun. I want you to remember this. No storm has ever lasted forever. Not one, and this one will be no different. Hold on, keep walking. The clouds will break, the rain will stop, and the light will return. And when it does, you'll realize you were the strength the storm was sent to reveal. Everybody wants to grow, but not everybody wants to be uncomfortable. We want the victory without the fight. We want the reward without the sacrifice, but life doesn't work that way. Growth lives in discomfort. The moments that stretch you, the moments that scare you, the moments that push you so far past your limit you wonder if you can even keep going. Those are the moments that shape you. Comfort never made a champion. When everything feels easy, you're not growing, you're maintaining. You're staying the same, and maybe that feels safe. Maybe it feels nice for a little while, but nothing extraordinary ever comes from staying where it's easy. The truth is, everything you've ever wanted, every dream, every goal, every breakthrough lives on the other side of your comfort zone. You're going to have to step into places where you don't have all the answers, where you don't feel ready, where you might fail. And that's exactly where you need to be. Think about it. Muscles don't grow without resistance. Diamonds aren't made without pressure, and your spirit isn't strengthened without struggle. That burning feeling you get when you're stretched to your limit. That's not a signal to stop. That's a sign you're building something inside of you that wasn't there before. But most people run from that feeling. They look for the quickest way back to comfort, not realizing they're running away from the very thing that could make them great. You have to be willing to lean into discomfort if you want to become the person you're meant to be. That means saying yes when it's easier to say no. That means speaking up when you'd rather stay silent. That means showing up when you feel like hiding. Discomfort is the birthplace of growth, and if you avoid it, you avoid your own potential. Here's the thing, discomfort will always feel unnatural at first. Your mind will tell you it's danger. It will whisper, this isn't for you. You're not ready. You should turn back. But that's not truth. That's fear talking. And fear doesn't show up in your comfort zone because nothing in there threatens it. Fear only shows up when you're stepping into new territory, when you're getting closer to who you're supposed to be. Some of the greatest moments of your life will come right after you wanted to quit, right after you wanted to run, right after you wanted to go back to where things were easy. But if you can hold on a little longer, if you can breathe through the fear and take another step, you'll realize you're capable of so much more than you thought. And once you've done that once, you'll carry that courage with you into the next challenge. Discomfort doesn't just make you stronger. It changes the way you see yourself. It proves to you that you can handle more than you ever imagined. And once you know that, nobody can convince you otherwise. You become the kind of person who can walk into uncertainty and know you'll figure it out along the way. That's a powerful place to live. Now, I won't lie to you. It's not fun in the moment. Growth rarely is. It's messy. It's awkward. It's filled with moments where you feel like you're failing. But you have to trust that the struggle is serving you. You have to believe that every challenge, every stretch, every bit of discomfort is shaping you for the life you've been asking for. Because if it were easy, everybody would have it, and if everybody had it, it wouldn't be worth having. So don't run from the hard things, don't hide from the moments that make you nervous, don't retreat back into what's familiar just because it feels safer. Safety can be the enemy of progress, and while comfort might give you peace for a moment, discomfort will give you growth for a lifetime. If you want to become more, you have to be willing to go through more. And every time you choose discomfort over comfort, you're not just building a skill or chasing a goal. You're building the kind of person who can stand in any room, face any challenge, and know without a doubt, I was made for this. Sometimes it's not that you can't do it, it's that you can't do it right now, and that's not weakness, that's not a flaw in your character. That's what happens when you've been running full speed without stopping to check your fuel. You're not broken, you're just empty. And if you keep pushing on empty, it's not just your progress that will suffer, it's you. We live in a world that celebrates the grind, the hustle, the never stop, never rest mentality. And don't get me wrong, work ethic matters, discipline matters, but so does your ability to recognize when you're running on fumes. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving without taking the time to refill. And yet, so many of us measure our worth by how much we can endure without stopping. That's not strength. That's a slow road to burnout. Burnout doesn't always look like collapse. Sometimes it's subtle. You start losing passion for things you used to love. You wake up tired even after a full night's sleep. You start snapping at people for no reason. You find yourself staring at your goals, not with excitement, but with dread. That's your body and your mind waving a red flag, telling you something important. You're running on empty. And if you don't stop to refuel, you won't make it to your finish line. Not because you're not capable, but because you refuse to listen when you needed a break. Think about a car. Even the most powerful engine will stall if the tank is empty. It's not about whether the car is good enough. It's about whether it has what it needs to keep going. You're the same way. You have goals, dreams, and a calling, but you need fuel to get there, and fuel doesn't just mean food or sleep. Fuel is whatever restores you. That might be time in prayer, moments of silence, time with loved ones, a walk in nature, reading something that inspires you, or simply breathing and letting your mind be still. The problem is, we often see rest as wasted time. We think, if I stop, I'll fall behind. But here's the truth. If you never stop, you won't just fall behind. You'll stop altogether. Rest is not the opposite of progress. Rest is part of progress. It's what allows you to keep moving when everyone else has burned out. There's a difference between quitting and resting. Quitting says, I'm done for good. Rest says, I'm pausing so I can come back stronger. Too many people confuse the two. They think stepping back means they've failed, when in reality, it's the smartest thing they could do. Even the strongest warriors know when to sheath their swords, not because the battle is over, but because they're preparing for the next fight. And let me tell you something. When you take the time to refuel, you come back sharper. Your mind is clearer, your energy is higher, your perspective is stronger. You start seeing solutions you couldn't see before because exhaustion had you looking through a fog. Sometimes the breakthrough you've been waiting for isn't hidden in more effort. It's hidden in the clarity that comes from rest. So before you convince yourself you're not good enough, before you start believing you've lost it, ask yourself, am I weak? Or am I just tired? The answer to that question can change everything. Because if you're tired, you don't need to give up. You need to fill up. And once you've refueled, once you've restored your energy, you'll notice something. What felt impossible before now feels possible again. What looked like a mountain now looks like a hill. What had you ready to quit now has you ready to fight. That's the power of checking your fuel before obsessing over your finish line. You are not a machine. You are a living, breathing human being. And the life you want to live, the goals you want to achieve, they're not just about how hard you can push. They're about how well you can sustain. So take the pause. Get your strength back, because the goal isn't just to cross the finish line. It's to get there with enough energy left to lift your head high and smile when you do. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. We live in a world that moves fast. Too fast, everything is instant. Instant messages, instant deliveries, instant answers. And when we don't see results right away, we start to think something is wrong. We start to think maybe the dream we're chasing isn't meant for us, but delay is not denial. Sometimes the wait isn't a punishment, it's preparation. There are things you've been asking for, working for, believing for, that haven't shown up yet, not because you're unworthy, but because you're not ready to hold them. The bigger the blessing, the stronger the foundation has to be to carry it. And that foundation is built in the waiting season. The waiting is where your patience is tested. It's where your discipline is sharpened. It's where you learn to keep going even when you can't see progress. And if you can't handle that, you won't be able to handle what comes after. Because blessings aren't just gifts. They're responsibilities, and the wait is shaping you into the kind of person who can hold on to them when they finally arrive. Think about planting a seed. You don't put it in the ground and expect it to sprout in a day. You cover it with dirt, you water it, you wait. You trust that something is happening beneath the surface, even if you can't see it yet. That's how life works. Just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean it's not happening. Some roots have to go deep before anything can break the surface. Otherwise, it won't last when the storms come. The danger is in mistaking not yet for never. Too many people give up because the timing didn't match their expectations. They walk away from the process right before things were about to turn, and here's the thing, you never know how close you are. It might be one more day, one more try, one more act of faith away. And if you stop, you'll never find out. Delays can feel unfair. You watch other people get what you've been praying for, working for, dreaming about, and you start to wonder why it's not happening for you. But comparison will make you forget that every journey has its own clock. Someone else's timeline is not your timeline. What's right for them right now might crush you if it came to you too soon. Your delay is making sure that when your moment comes, you're ready for it, and it's ready for you. Sometimes the wait is also protection. There are doors that look good but lead to places you're not supposed to go. There are opportunities that seem perfect but would pull you away from your true purpose. Delay is God's way of keeping those doors shut until the right one opens, and when it does, it will open in a way that no one can shut it. The hardest part is trusting when you can't see it. That's where most people lose heart. They think faith is about believing when things are going well, but real faith is holding on when nothing looks like it's working. It's standing in the dark and believing the light is coming. It's saying, I don't know when, but I know it's on the way. That's not easy, but that's where your strength is built, and here's the beauty of it. When the delay ends, it often makes the blessing sweeter. You'll appreciate it more because you know what it cost you to get it. You'll value it more because you remember the days you almost let go. And you'll protect it more because you know what it's like to live without it. The wait changes you, and that change is part of the gift. So don't confuse a delay with a denial. Your story isn't over just because the chapter you want hasn't been written yet. There are still pages left, and the ink is still wet. Trust the timing, trust the process. Trust that what's meant for you is still making its way to you. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. You might be closer than you think, closer to the moment you've been working for, praying for, believing for. But here's the thing, when you're standing right next to the door to your breakthrough, it doesn't always feel like victory is near. In fact, most of the time it feels like the fight is getting harder, the pressure heavier, and the doubts louder. That's because the hardest part of the journey is often the final stretch, and that's where so many people give up right before the door swings open. You've been climbing this mountain for so long, your legs are tired, your lungs are burning, and your mind is telling you you've had enough. And because you can't see the summit yet, you assume it's still far away. But what if you're just one more step, one more try, one more day of persistence away from reaching it? What if you've already done 99% of the work and quitting now would mean walking away from everything you've built? That's the dangerous part. You don't always know how close you are. Breakthroughs rarely come with a warning sign. They don't announce themselves ahead of time. You can be walking in darkness for what feels like forever, and then, without notice, the light breaks through. One conversation, one opportunity, one yes from the right person, one door that opens at the perfect time, and everything changes. The problem is that moment doesn't happen if you stop moving. That's why persistence is so powerful. It keeps you in the game long enough for the tide to turn. Too many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because someone decided they were too tired to keep going. They didn't realize they were already at the edge of the breakthrough they'd been chasing. Sometimes the struggle intensifies right before the shift happens. It's almost like life is asking you, how bad do you really want this? The pressure ramps up, obstacles appear out of nowhere, and you start questioning whether the fight is worth it. But that's not a sign to give up, that's a sign to dig in. Because if the resistance is strongest now, it might mean you're pressing against the very wall that's about to break. Think about it like this. A miner can spend months digging through rock, finding nothing, getting blisters on his hands, breaking tools, and feeling like a fool for even trying. But the moment he decides to put down the pickaxe and walk away could be the moment he was just inches from striking gold. And the truth is, you'll never know unless you keep swinging. You've already invested too much to stop now. All those sleepless nights, all that effort, all the sacrifices you've made, they're seeds in the ground. Just because you can't see the harvest yet doesn't mean it's not growing. It's there, beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to break through. And if you walk away now, you'll never see what all of that was for. That's why you have to learn to keep moving, even when progress is invisible, even when every step feels like it's leading nowhere. Because sometimes it's not about giant leaps forward. It's about the small, stubborn steps you take when quitting would be easier. Those steps stack up. They bring you closer when you don't even realize it. I know it's tempting to let go. I know the voice in your head says it would be easier to stop. But easy doesn't lead to breakthroughs. Endurance does. You don't have to see the whole path. You just have to take the next step, and then the next one, and then the next. And if you do that long enough, you'll eventually find yourself standing in the moment you've been dreaming of. You could be standing at the door to your breakthrough right now. The only way to find out is to stay long enough to see it open. You've got what it takes. Now take what you've heard and move forward. If this spoke to you, like the video, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Your breakthrough is waiting.